Every month I get the same question. How do I defeat the queen in Nightmare Raid if I don't have Tam, or if I don't have Iseria, or if I don't have Landy or Steny? So here's a guide on how to take out the Nightmare Queen using no 5-star units and no limited units. So for this fight, we're going to use green lots. You want to have green lots on Doctor's Bag. I think Doctor's Bag is somewhat necessary for this fight, as it adds a cleanse to his kit. If you don't have Doctor's Bag, you might be able to pull it off with Stella Harpa or Wondrous Potion Vial, but Doctor's Bag certainly makes it easier. Other than that, Lots doesn't need a lot of stats, just make him tanky enough to survive. We'll use Falconer Chluri. She has a non-attack defense break, she's got a non-attack strip, and she's a decent knight. She can wear Aureus to help reduce the damage on the rest of the team, and her passive heals are kind of clutch. You could try replacing her with another knight, but it's going to be a big ask to find somebody as good as Chluri. Angel of Light Angelica is a cornerstone of this team. I know she's an ML 4-star, and not everybody has her, but if you don't have her, then do the side stories and get Tam and Iseria. Put her on Spirit's Breath. If you don't have Spirit's Breath, you can get away with running Prophetic Candlestick to help cycle her skills, or you could also run Etika Scepter to help cycle her skills. Spirit's Breath is still the best because it's got the highest proc rate, and it does proc on her passive. You want to make sure she has 105% effectiveness in order to strip. Now our nuker is going to be Green Sid. I put him on Alexa's Basket because the greater attack buff is huge. It's better than any of the damage artifacts as far as boosting his power up for this. If you don't have Alexa's Basket, you could run Symbol of Unity or Wind Rider. I think Wind Rider maths out to be better damage, but you have to test that out yourself. But Alexa's Basket if you have it. I changed him to attack boots. I found, even though he's a speed scaler, the 65 attack was better than the 45 speed. And make sure he's on his S3 EE, that gives elemental advantage. Even though there's no elemental concerns in this fight, elemental advantage boosts his overall damage. Any high-end nuker could work in Sid's place, like Sirmia or Sigrid. If you put Rage Set on him, it would make this even cleaner. I chose Xeon for the Guardian, though I'm not entirely sure I even used him. He does have an extra turn mechanic, which can help you cheese one unit past the threshold. If you use Xeon to push the second threshold, that unit takes an extra turn and bypasses the weakness. But you can also run Kazran. Kazran has built-in cleanse, which can help, especially if you don't have Doctor's Bag. Now you just run full auto until you get all the way to this upper left-hand corner. Once you're here, you have one more fight before the Queen, so you want to turn your auto battling off. With auto battling off, you can control the pace of the fight and make sure that you exit this fight with everybody's skills ready, so you can go into the Queen fight with everybody ready to go. Now that last fight pushed us below 30 morale, so we want to camp to get back above 30 morale. Your camp choices don't really matter that much.
All journeys end at the same destination. This is true of your adventure too.
My motto? To work less and live a long, uneventful life with Flurry. Isn't that right, Flurry?
With the camping done, the last thing you want to do is drink a blue potion to make sure you're topped off in health. All of my healths were maxed, so no reason to drink that second potion. Start the fight by activating the Queen. The Queen will put weakness on everybody except for the front unit, so nobody gets to take a turn but Lots. Lots can push up AOL. She's the important one to push up first because she's got the strip that will take the attack buff off and make this survivable. Lots can use his S2 or his S3 skill to push everybody a little bit, and then Angel of Light strips and applies buff block, hopefully. Got it.
Well, I'm left with no choice.
I'll try my best.
Now Lots' S2 is ready again, so we can push up Flurry. I want Flurry to be up next because as she passively takes turns, she heals everybody, and that'll help me stay ahead of the health. And we just start chipping away at the queen with little nuisance attacks. You don't want to attack the bees yet. Part of the way this fight works is somewhat of a cheese. We're going to use the bees to hurt the queen without activating the passive, or without activating the phase 2 of this fight. Because of Spirit's Breath, Angel of Light should be able to spam the strips, and the nice thing about it is you don't have to worry about 15% resulting in a counter because it's a non-attack skill. Lots can finally wake up Sid, and now all my units are ready to go. And we start chipping away at the queen.
Maybe I'm working too hard.
I'll try my best. Not long left now.
Anytime you can use Lots' S3 once you get out of this break phase, you use it, and if his S2 is available, you can S2 himself. That'll help cycle his S3 faster. I'll go ahead and put a defense break on the queen here. I'll soul burn to make sure it sticks.
Help me.
Let's go. What should I do?
So you have 2 turns left on my S3, so I S2 myself and my S1, and now my S3 is ready again. And that's what lets Lots be a strong enough healer to stay ahead of this damage. The skill null activation from AOL's S2 passive also activates Spirit's Breath, and that's part of what makes that artifact so good in this fight.
No problem.
So Sid S3s with greater attack buff into that defense break. Check out this damage.
And slice.
Nice.
I'm a little nervous about fighting. Come on, everyone.
Got it, Flurry? Just like we practiced.
I won't stand down.
Falconer Clury pushing units up helps. I got greater attack buff again. Okay, so we're rapidly approaching the 50% mark. Part of this cheese is we cannot hit the queen when she's below 50% health. We're going to use the bees to lower her health after that point. Now, Spirit's Breath didn't proc, so I'm 1 turn behind on my strip, so I'm going to break with my pattern, and instead of S2ing myself, I'm going to S3 AOL just so that I can get her S3 off, because I want to get buff block reestablished.
At least to you it will.
And I got 15%ed on the strip, but at least I got the buff block. So I'm going to hit the eggs because I don't want to do any more damage to the bees yet. I'm saving the bees so that I can use them to damage the queen and cheese the threshold.
Careful, please move aside. May blessings be with you.
Shall I attack? Like the wind.
Fight a little harder, Flurry.
Okay, Falconer Clury's S3 is ready, and that's a strip. But I don't want to put a defense break on the queen, so we'll hang back and let AOL do the stripping for us.
I'm a little nervous.
Okay, here I should have just used raw S3 since it was ready, but I am so used to the pattern of doing S2 into S3 that I went ahead and S2'd myself. Doctor's Bag at least procced, so it wasn't a total wasted turn. So that healed everybody up a little bit, and then that healed everybody up to full.
Got it, Flurry? Just like we practiced.
Now with no buffs on the queen, I can safely hit her, so I'm going to start chipping away.
Is it my turn?
Sid got greater attack buff. I don't think this will be enough to push phase. I really hope it doesn't. I'll have to restart if it is. Oof, really close. Okay, so the queen is pretty close to 50%. I'll use some of these nuisance S1s here to chip her down just a little bit more. S2 myself to cycle the
I'm a
S3.
little nervous about fighting.
My S3 will be ready next turn. Just one more hit into the queen.
Maybe I'm working too hard.
Yeah, I can hit her one more time, I think.
Help me.
Ooh, okay.
Careful. Please
Okay,
step aside.
that dual attack almost hosed me, so I got her right down to 50%. I min-maxed that a little too much. I should have left well enough alone. If that dual attack had been with Sid, we'd have been in trouble. But now we ignore the queen. We start hitting the bees. You'll notice that now that I've hit the bees, she's below the 50% threshold, but she is not activated her ultimate skill. She's not awakened
Try my best.
the spiders. She's not put weakness on any of my units. And that's part of the cheese, is we're going to use the bees to take her down to almost no health. Now, Queen is about to take a turn, so I'm going to save the S3 for next round. That way she doesn't rotate off one round of the buff block. And I don't really need to worry about hitting the Queen because we're focusing down the bees. Now the important thing is to get the bees close to no health, kind of like we did with the queen, and then drop a big nuke into the bee so we get that one last big burst of damage. So I've reestablished the buff block,
I can fight. I'm a little
cycling
nervous
Sid's
about fighting.
S2 into himself to reduce his cooldown so that we can have his S3 up next round.
Easier. Flurry, spread your wings. Attack.
Do not use your Guardian after this point. Once you get past the 50% threshold, the Guardian will count as a hit on the Queen and cause the Queen to do her ultimate. We're trying to avoid that.
Well, I'm left with no choice.
I'll try my best.
Now this would be a lot faster and a lot cleaner if you put a good rage set or high damage set like destruction or attack set onto your Sid. You would probably be able to run this fight a lot faster, but I didn't want to re-gear my entire unit, so I just changed his boots. We'll speed this up here because I think you get the point. Once we get that front B down to where he's got almost no health left, we wait until Sid gets greater attack buff. Once he gets Gab from Alexa's basket, then we can soul burn his S3 to finish the B off, and you notice that did 20,000 damage into the Queen.
While you blink.
Now we work on B number 2 and do the exact same thing. Slowly whittling him down until his health is close enough that we'll be able to one-shot him, waiting until you get the greater attack buff.
Got it, Flurry.
And once you get a greater attack buff, make sure you have a defense break on the B. There, we got the greater attack buff, so I'll go ahead and soul burn my S3. This should kill and do another 20k damage to the Queen. 21k. Now the Queen is almost dead. So now we just hit the egg sacs because without a defense break on the Queen, we can't really do anything. So we're just in stall mode looking for two things. We're looking to have a defense break on the Queen and greater attack buff on Sid. Now the only way we can get the defense break on the Queen is Falcon Artillery's S3. So the annoying stall part of this is waiting for Falcon Artillery's S3 to go up and then hoping you proc Alexa's basket in one of the next 2 turns. It is a 40% chance to proc if you have a max Alexa's basket, so at least there's that, but if it doesn't proc, go back to stalling until Falcon Artillery can soul burn her S3 again, and keep waiting until you get the perfect storm of defense break and greater attack buff. I've got the greater attack buff there, but unfortunately no defense break, so I have to stall another turn.
Won't stand down. The door will remain closed. At least to
If you're using a unit like Fire Sirmia, who gives herself greater attack buff, that can make this a little bit less painful, because you don't have to worry about timing that defense break with the greater attack buff. So, oh, I've got a destruction buff too, crit damage buff on Sid, so it sure would be nice if I get the greater attack buff and the destruction buff. That would be incredible damage. With so little health left, the destruction buff isn't needed. The greater attack buff that I got there is all that's really necessary. Soulburn the S3, and that will take the queen down to one health. That activates her final form. The eggs hatch. Lots is ready with his S3. I'm sorry, with his S2. All you need to do is wait this out. Once the queen takes a turn, anybody can smack him. So just to get rid of the damage, I'm going to push up AOL because I want to strip away the attack and defense buffs. Not so much the defense, but I want to get rid of the attack buffs because I am running on fumes here and I don't want to die.
What should I do?
I won't stand down.
And I'll use the S3 to strip away the attack buff, though really I don't think it would have mattered.
I'll try my best.
I mean, really all I need to do is let the queen take a turn, so I will S3 to push AOL up, heal myself, queen takes a turn, loses her buff, and now any hit will kill her because she has 1 H left, and the fight is over. So there you go. No 5-star units, no Tam and Iseria. A pretty stable, clean way to beat the queen. The only part that's difficult is making sure you don't overkill at 50% health, that you don't overkill the bees because you really want that last turn nuke shot, and to make sure that you have a strong enough nuking unit that you can push phase at the very end. Here's the location of the last mini-boss in that section in case you want to min-max your drops. And that is that. Did I get a good drop? I got a mediocre drop. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope it helps you finish off your Nightmare Queen. Long story short is I still recommend using Tam and Iseria. It takes less setup, and though this team has less RNG to it, it is a little bit harder to do just right, and it's slow. If you have any questions, ask them in the comments section, and as always, like and subscribe. Have a great one, everybody.